can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat Sleep Boxing Repeat.
Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. It's me, Niall. Delighted as always to be joined by Paul, and we're here in final prediction mode for a bantamweight world title clash this weekend on the night anyway undercard of courses. Yoshiki Takei defends his WBO bantamweight crown against the Mexican puncher Christian Jimenez. Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting one and an interesting division. To be honest, of course, ruled by the Japanese mostly, Paul, the bantamweight division at the minute. So, yeah, let's jump straight into it. No messing about. Yoshiki Takai, Christian Jimenez, WBO bantamweight world title. What is your final prediction for this one?
Yeah, thanks, mate. Looking forward to this one. I think, as I said in the NBA preview, it's always good when you get some boxing in the afternoon, which will happen for us on Sunday. Going to be tuning in to watch this Takei and Jimenez fight. Do you know what? I think you're right in what you said. Jimenez definitely a puncher. He's only 25 because he's had 29, 30 fights already. It's incredible, and you look at his three. He's lost four times, obviously, never been stopped. Three of those defeats were kind of early on, and maybe six, eight rounders against fighters you mightn't have heard of. But his most notable loss was to Nishida back in 2023. He did lose quite wide on the scorecards. Clearly very tough. Takei obviously is a massive puncher himself. Um, but I'm actually going to go with this fight to go the distance, to be honest with you, mate. I am backing the Japanese Takei to retain his WBO crown, but I do actually feel that it will go the distance. He obviously is two of his he did win very early on last time out via stoppage, but I think his two fights before that both went the distance against higher ranked fighters. I think Jimenez will be durable enough, strong enough, ballsy enough, really, for want of a better word, and he will see the final bell. I think he'll give as good as he's got as well. I do think Takei will win it kind of convincingly. I think he's the superior fighter of the two. Could see him as maybe asking a few questions early on, but ultimately I see Takei retaining his WBO World Bantamweight title. Perhaps maybe scoring a knockdown, but not being able to get Jimenez out of there. But yeah, I'm going Takei. Relatively wide, kind of comfortable, unanimous decision.
Yeah, it's good analysis. It's hard to really kind of disagree with what you said. You're always wary when you see a Mexican underdog, a big punching Mexican underdog. You think it wouldn't surprise you if they come in and kind of cause big problems. But yeah, Yoshiki Takei, I just think he's a bit too well-rounded for Jimenez. I'm a big fan of Takei since the Maloney fight. I think his hand speed, his boxing ability, and he can punch as well. So yeah, I just think the run he's been on, and the kind of tools he has, more tools he has to his belt than Jimenez could get it done. I I can't disagree with a points win, but just for the sake of being different, I go for a late stoppage. So it's not too boring that we're both picking the same. I'll go for a late Yoshiki Takei stoppage. Rounds 10 to 12, I'd say. But yeah, Jimenez gonna be durable. The Nishida lost, no shame in that. But yeah, Takei, I just think is quality. He's maybe a couple of levels above Jimenez here. So yeah, I think he gets it done. And as you say, he might even floor Jimenez. Who knows? On his way to getting the points decision that you think he'll get. So yeah, we're both going for a pretty comfortable Yoshiki Takei win here against the Mexican challenger. Just kind of before we were to wrap up, what are your thoughts on kind of Yoshiki Takei standing in that bantamweight division? As I said, it's a very interesting division. You've got the phenomenal Junto Nakatani. I know we're both huge fans of Nakatani. You've got Antonio Vargas, but you've also got other kind of fighters that aren't title holders, phenomenal fighters. Tenshin Nasukawa, Satsumi, Takuma Inoue. Where do you think Takai kind of places on that list at 118 pounds?
Yeah, it's really interesting, mate. I think if you've got, I know there's rumors that he's going to be moving up, perhaps for his next fight, Nakatani. But for the sake of this video, let's say we still regard him as a bantamweight. I think you've got Nakatani as the out and out best bantamweight in the world. I think most people would agree with that. But when besides him, then you look at this and you think, Takei, there's an argument there that he could be the next best. But I definitely believe that. If not next best, he's definitely one of the top three. I think, and most people would agree with that. I would actually go as far as saying that Takei perhaps is the best 118-pound fighter outside of Nakatani. And if Nakatani is to move up, to go chase that super fight with Inoue or any of the, if those belts become fragmented, if Inoue moves up to featherweight, whatever happens, he'll obviously leave two belts behind then, being the unified champion at bantamweight. I could see Takei picking up another version, becoming unified champion himself. I think he is really that good, but there's still so many massive fights. Some of those names you mentioned, incredible fights, incredible dust-ups. And do you know what? I'd love to see him in with, if it's not Nakatani, if he does move up, those other names you mentioned, those other champions, some of those fringe title holders who kind of deserve their shot. Some massive, massive fights to be made. They're all maybe, albeit not household names in boxing circles because of the weight division and what have you, but phenomenal fighters, world class fights that could be there. And I think Takei, yeah, could definitely be up there with the very best, if not the single best outside of Nakatani.
I totally agree. I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think he is the best bantamweight in the world, not named Nakatani. And the fact that I'd favour him against Vargas for the WBA champion, and I'd favour him against, although they are phenomenal fights, the likes of a Satsumi, Takuma anyway, Tenshin Nasukawa, I think is looking phenomenal. He seems to be improving, leaps and bounds every fight. But I think if it was to happen next, I'd favour Yoshiki Takei. So yeah, if Junto Nakatani does move up, which it looks like he is now, I think Takei can dominate the division and unify the division. I really do. But yeah, he has a big one to get past this weekend first. A tricky operator in Christian Jimenez. That was myself and Paul giving our final predictions for this WBO Bantamweight World Title fight. Of course, the undercard of the huge Naoya Inoue Murodjon Akhmadaliev clash in Japan this Sunday. So yeah, let us know what you think in the comments. Are you going for a Takei retention here? Can Jimenez upset the odds to become the new world champion? Get involved down below, and as always, don't forget to drop a like on this video first of all. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at ESBR Boxing if you're not doing so already, and follow us on all social media. Paul, it was a pleasure. Take care.
Cheers, mate. All the best.